So we are talking about the creature feature movie Blood Hunters. Now, just to make matters confusing, there's actually another movie that came out in this same year, also called Blood Hunters. This is the creature feature one, directed by Trish Lee, and is basically, he kind of starts off very similar to a Resident Evil film. And I've got to say, this movie started incredibly strong. We basically start off with this young girl who we see at the very beginning that she's some kind of like drug addict in a very kind of short prologue, but she kind of wakes up in this hospital. She's heavily pregnant. We don't know what the hell's going on. There's bodies everywhere, blood all over the walls. There's something that's gone wrong. We don't know what the hell's happening here. Very, very intriguing. We meet a number of other survivors as to kind of the film progresses, but there's something lurking in the shadows. There is some type of creature that basically is coming out and hiding in the darkness and trying to attack, that is actually addicted to blood, hence the title Blood Hunters here. And obviously it's a question of, can these guys escape? Can they defeat these vicious creatures? Now, I saw the trailer for this one some time ago, and I thought it looked very, very good. The actual design of the creatures looks very unique and kind of somewhat alien, and it's something you haven't quite seen before. Even though it is just the man in a suit, I did like especially the kind of the facial makeup of the kind of creatures here. So I've got to say, this film started off really strong. I was already expecting a pretty good creature feature. So let's talk about the positives and negatives first of all. Like I said, the first thing for me is this movie starts off really strong. It kind of grabs you and kind of really holds your interest, and even though you don't really know what's going on, you're intrigued to find out what's happening, and it kind of, as the film progresses, those reveals kind of start to happen. And obviously we kind of unravel the truth about what's been going on, and it's a very interesting backstory. We meet this kind of array of kind of what ends up being a small group of survivors, each of which have got a particular kind of set of skills and kind of like a bit of a backstory. Thought it's very strong. I love the relationship between the kind of the male lead and the female lead. I thought that seemed very, very natural, and they have got a kind of a nice little kind of bit of banter between them that does feel particularly kind of quite touching at times, and again, it feels pretty natural. So I call it that. Like I said, I love the effects of the kind of the creatures. We do see the sort of more wide angles, and they are literally just kind of like people in suits, a bit like the kind of the things you see in The Descent, stuff like that, the kind of like the Gollum sort of style creatures. But I did like the kind of the facial makeup. They look pretty strong here, and there are moments of some pretty decent gore here. There's a couple of CGI gory bits that don't work quite as well, but for the most part there's some fairly decent gore here, and I just love the aesthetics of the setting and stuff like that. All the set design look great, and it moves on a fair old pace. So what didn't I like? I've got to say, the big criticism for me is the third act. The third act for me really does just fall down. I think it just buckles under its own weight a little bit, and ultimately becomes a little bit boring and kind of not particularly interesting. We feel like we're kind of retreading the same ground, and the intriguing kind of first 2/3, certainly the first third, is gone by that point, and you're left with quite a mundane kind of action style finisher that I feel that it doesn't make a lot of sense as well what the characters decide to do. And when the reveal happens again about where these creatures have come from, there could have been more done with it. Unfortunately, the last third of this film, unfortunately, is quite weak. There's also some fairly stilted dialogue between some of the other peripheral characters. Some of the lines that they say, some of the lines of dialogue, are very on the nose and seem like eye-rollingly bad. It's the sort of stuff that you would write down and think, oh, that would be a funny line if this character would say it, but no one would actually say it in real life. So overall, I got to say, I did enjoy this film. I would say it's an above-average horror film, and it could have been something great. Maybe if they had made that last act just a little bit more interesting, and kind of didn't make it seem so kind of cliche and not inept exactly, but just kind of unspectacular. But the first third especially will keep you intrigued. It reminded me a little bit of when Rick Grimes wakes up at The Walking Dead and the first Resident Evil film and stuff like that. Definitely keeps you intrigued. Unfortunately, it kind of does fall flat a little bit at the end. But overall, I'll give this movie a solid 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.